Good evening and welcome to another online edition of OU Nightly. I'm Cal Day, tonight reporting remotely from my hometown of Owasso, Oklahoma, in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic. Tonight we begin with a historic day at the Oklahoma State Capitol. The State House and Senate gathered at the Capitol just this morning to vote in a special session called upon by Governor Kevin Stitt. Now, most were wearing masks and all were required to have their temperature taken before entering the building. Members were allowed in the chamber only 8 at a time to cast their vote. The special session addressed a multi-million-dollar budget shortfall for the state. Today's vote passed and will help fund agencies and core services for the remainder of the fiscal year. The budget shortfall is due to the COVID-19 crisis and the closure of so many businesses in Oklahoma. And the state of Oklahoma will now receive federal funding for emergency protective measures. President Donald Trump has approved the major disaster declaration for the state, including all 77 counties. The White House is reviewing additional assistance services from the governor. This declaration authorizes Oklahomans to take advantage of FEMA's public assistance program. And the number of COVID cases continues to rise in the Sooner State. The Oklahoma State Department of Health reports 1,327 cases in Oklahoma. Down south in Texas, there are 7,276 cases. The Lone Star State is currently under more strict rules for distancing and business closures than Oklahoma. Nationally, the CDC reports more than 330,000 cases of COVID-19. The CDC is now recommending that Americans wear a face mask when leaving their homes. And across the country, state and local leaders are expressing extreme concern for the next couple of weeks when it comes to the number of cases that are on the rise.
We are very, very worried about, in particular, our intensive care capacity.
The Trump administration says the U.S. will likely face its most deadly stretch in the coronavirus fight over the next 2 weeks. People are being advised not to let down their guard when it comes to staying at home, hand washing, and now wearing masks if they need to go out. And despite the climbing cases in the U.S., the stock market had its best day in 2 weeks. The Dow soared 1,600 points, the S&P closed 7% higher, and the Nasdaq went up 7.3%. Across the globe, there are now 1.2 million confirmed cases of COVID-19. The World Health Organization also reports more than 67,000 deaths worldwide. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been admitted to an intensive care unit after his coronavirus symptoms have worsened. First Secretary of State Dominic Raab will fill in for Johnson when it is necessary. And we now know that the coronavirus is not just a threat to humans. A 4-year-old tiger at the Bronx Zoo in New York tested positive for COVID-19. The Bronx Zoo says the tiger developed a dry cough, but the zoo says she expected to recover. The zoo also says 5 other tigers are showing symptoms, but other animals are healthy. And one entertainment chain is struggling to stay in business as a result of more people staying at home in the middle of the pandemic. AMC's business has been going down in the past few years, but top executives say they will have to take significant pay cuts to keep the business alive. Quarantine orders are putting a strain on the movie theater industry, and AMC's credit ranking is down, and the company reported a more than $5 billion deficit last year.
Good afternoon, I'm student meteorologist Martin Lowrimore here with your weather for Oklahoma. Here in the southeastern part of the state, we've had a lot of rain this past month, actually over 8 inches of rain at the Worcester Mesonet Station, so been expecting a lot, but hopefully it's going to be the end of it. Actually, right now here in Norman, it's 68 degrees as of right now. That wind is coming a little gusty at 13 miles an hour. The dew point is pretty up there at 60 degrees, so it's feeling a little humid, but not terrible. Current temperatures across the state, pretty ranging actually. Guyman is in the 80s, but meanwhile the central part of the state is still in the 60s, and there are 70s in between. So not a terrible day, but you still probably should stay inside. We've gotten a little bit warmer across the entire state, ranging from 10 to 15 degrees warmer than we were yesterday, so it's not as cool as it was yesterday. Looking into our evening planner tonight, we are going to be tapering off slowly into those mid to lower 60s as we get into the midnight hours. The clouds will remain, and those winds are going to taper off, but still coming out of the south. Tomorrow, those highs are going to be a lot warmer, in the 80s across the entire state. Some places may even get up into the 90s, especially in the central and northwestern part of the state. So we could be getting a little warmer than we have been the past few days. As we go into the 7-day forecast, it's going to be warm throughout the entire week with 80s dominating, and then a cold front coming in on Thursday. Most likely not going to have any rain, but going into the weekend, the rain sadly will be returning with temperatures dropping out into the 60s. Cal, I'm going to take it back to you.
And the Rocklahoma Music Festival becomes the latest event to be postponed as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. The festival traditionally takes place every year during Memorial Day weekend in Pryor, but has been postponed to 2021. People who purchase passes for this year can transfer their pass to next year or receive a full refund.
I'm Caroline Grace, coming to you from Huntsville, Alabama, in the heart of the SEC, to bring you your daily dose of sports. Now, Alabama is in a shelter-in-place where the governor addressed the state by saying if you want a football season, you better stay inside. And speaking of football season, there is finally an answer for the 2020 NFL Draft. ESPN confirmed today that the draft will be held virtually and any gatherings will be prohibited. And for today, I'm sure some of you had this day marked on your calendar because it was supposed to be the day of the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship. Well, obviously that is canceled, so why don't we take a look back on the last time the Sooners hit the court and reminisce on what could have been. Now, this is a pretty even matchup, but what made this game stand out for the Sooners is junior Austin Reeves going off and scoring 41 points and the game-winning jumper with half a second on the clock. OU topped TCU 78-76 after trailing by up to 19 points in the first half. And another date marked up for today would have been the first day of the 2020 Masters. Many anticipated this year's excitement after Tiger Woods made his return to glory in 2019. Earlier today, ESPN and the Professional Golfers Association announced that the Masters have been moved to November 12th through the 15th. They are still set to take place in Augusta. Horse racing fans, hold on to your wallets. The Kentucky Derby that was set to race on May 2nd has been postponed for September 5th. Sorry, jokesters, your horse walks into a bar jokes are just going to have to wait another 5 months because these horses have some training to do. Well, that's all I have for you today. I'm Caroline Grace, and remember, if you want football season, stay home and wash your hands.
And you may have missed out on attending a wedding, a show, or any kind of event in the last couple of weeks due to the pandemic, but one famous actor found a way to brighten someone's spirits after missing a musical.
In the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by Providence impoverished.
John Krasinski and the entire cast of Hamilton hosted a video chat with a young girl who missed going to the musical due to the coronavirus. However, the cast sang the entire opening number to her, and Krasinski plans to fly the girl and her mother to see the show when it is safe again. And that's going to do it for tonight's online edition of OU Nightly, brought to you by our team working remotely in different states all across the country. Reporting from my hometown of Owasso, Oklahoma, I'm Cal Day. Good night.